And Kathy, I'm going to turn it over to you, and away we go.
Wonderful. And Judith, everybody can see my screen as well, right?
Yeah,
Full
can everyone?
screen,
Yep,
says publish.
yep.
Perfect. Okay. Well, thanks everyone for your interest in the Bublish platform. And I'm here to help you learn about the platform and accelerate your publishing success with Bublish. As Judith said a little bit about me, I am the founder and CEO of Bublish, and I've been in media and publishing for quite a bit longer than 20 years, actually. It's getting to the point where I don't actually want to say how many years I've been in media and publishing,
Well,
but
I
it's always
suspect
been my passion since I was little.
between the two of us, I bet you we have 60 years. How's that?
Yeah, exactly. And, so much change, so much opportunity I've seen, but the one thing that I have done throughout my career in publishing and media is watch the power of branding as a professional editor, as a journalist who work with places like Forbes and CBS, built editorial brands at Forbes from the ground up, kind of a startup within Forbes. So I kind of know from the foundation on up what it takes to create a brand around content. And I speak and blog frequently on this because it's changed so much. The movement from a physical container to the online world is really why I developed what you're going to see, the heart of the Bublish platform, the book bubble. It was like, how do we keep ourselves close to our content and make sure we have control of the messaging in a world where everything is broken into little pieces and put all over the place, which is wonderful, but it's very difficult when you can't control the container. So that was kind of where Bublish was born. And I'm also really big into just, imparting the information and the expertise that I've gained over the years as had a conference here in Charleston called PubSmart, and like I said, we do a lot of webinars as well. Judith, I think you're amazing to share your information all the time too. So I think it's important for authors to grow as a community and share what they learn. There's a lot to learn, right?
Well, there is, I think one of the keys, Kathy, is that authors need to hang out with other authors as well as experts. They got to hang out with other authors, because you will be amazed what little tidbits you pick up from someone that is doing something that you just discover, this would work for me. So.
Yeah, absolutely. That collaboration can really help you grow more quickly. Why learn everything from scratch when there's so many other people who have already tried out things and seen what works? So today, I thought what we do is just give you a quick overview of the publishing marketplace and why some of the tools that we've created at Bublish are really important and cutting edge. Some of the benefits and a virtual tour, so I'll actually live demo the platform for you, and then show you a little bit about how authors are using Bublish to build their author brand and market their books and themselves. So we are an award-winning platform. We've been around for a while, but launched our Authorpreneur Dashboard, which is our first complete dashboard, about 18 months ago, and it's just growing by leaps and bounds. International audience. We've gotten a lot of media coverage. And what's really nice is to get recognition from places like Book Expo America and the International Digital Publishing Forum, which is the overseer of all things around EPUBs, because we do have a creation tool, and they've been there kind of from the ground up for us. It's very important to us that authors are able to create beautiful EPUBs with one click, and you'll see that on the Bublish platform you can do that. So they've recognized us for excellence in that area, as well as O'Reilly's Tools of Change. So the real reason that Bublish exists is basically because of this slide. And we all know there's never been more opportunity. You can get your books to market very quickly, but once you get there, and some of the latest numbers I've heard, and I have studied and studied this. I've got some good data, but the latest numbers are 5,000 books published each day. I think that's a little high, but it doesn't matter, because at this point it is just an immense amount of content like no other time in history. So it's both the greatest opportunity and the greatest challenge. challenge because everyone can publish a book now. So what that does is really create new pain points for authors around the concept of marketing and discovery and really being a savvy business person in this very competitive market that we live in. And that is really why we started to look at the concept that it's not just getting your book out there, but making sure that a click away are the tools that you need to enhance your marketability and discoverability in these massive online retailers like Amazon. So who is impacted by these major trends? Well, there are about 4 to 6 million working authors in the U.S. alone, and 98% of them do not have a recognizable brand. An interesting fact that we know about brands is that the research that has been done on how readers buy in this new digital age where we shop online and we shop on our phones and we browse things through social is that if you have a recognizable brand, even with a small audience, the readers are 15 times more likely to purchase a book from you. So branding yourself above your books, branding yourself as an author has never been more important than it is today. And on top of that, you know, there's so much to learn. The authors need innovative, cost-effective resources and tools to build their brand. Building a brand is really expensive. It's one of the reasons you see in a publishing market, traditional publishing market with really tight margins per unit because the price per unit has come down, that they're gravitating towards people with really big platforms and really big names because that takes the risk out of it. To build that brand as a new or emerging author, that is a big challenge. So we really wanted to make that simpler, more cost-effective for authors.
Mm-hmm. You know, Kathy, while you have the Stephen King slide up, what's so, I mean, besides his name is humongous, but which is great.
Which is good. We say that to our authors, make it big.
Exactly. But what I have really tried to grill into all the people I have the pleasure to work with is that your name is the brand. Because your books breed books. You're going to have other books. Those titles will change. Your name does not. That's why you've got to focus on this. And when you look at the Stephen King, I mean, none of his book covers are the same. They vary with different things. But here's what an author would take, a buyer, a super fan of King would do, is they just would look at this and they'll say, Stephen King, you know what? I don't recognize this cover. I'm going to get this because I don't recognize the cover. They buy because of the name. That's why the brand is so important.
Absolutely. And there's more and more evidence. You know, Peter Hildick Smith of the Codex Group has really followed tens of thousands of readers into this new age. And the power of what they call brand equity as you develop more equity around the recognition of your brand as an author is so powerful in repeat sales. And, you know, the big names, most of their buyers are repeat sales. And so the key is to start your career and start writing books with a real sense of who am I as an author and what is the reading experience that I want to provide. If you can translate that into a clear brand message and get it in front of the right audience, you have a much, and then just keep building it and keep delivering on that promise. That's what we say. An author brand is basically your promise to readers.
And that's why the 5,000 books a day, which, by the way, I do believe that number, because that's the self-published, that's all the vanity press and the self-published and someone who sells 12 copies. I mean, that's all those books a day. But having that brand, which is what the Book Bubble Delight reinforces, is having that brand that comes into play. People, you just stand out. You're different, and it brings you kind of above the roar.
Exactly. And there is a lot of white noise in the system, that is for sure.
All right.
And the other big change is really that no matter how you are published, social media, the movement to online has really put the author at the center of the publishing universe, you know, even more because the publishers don't have the brands. The authors have the brands, and the authors have the connection with the audience. A lot of people don't, and at Bublish, you know, we work with traditional authors, we work with publishers, we work with indies, we work with best-selling indies, we work with completely unknown indies. So what's interesting across the board is that the author really is the center of the publishing universe. And in times past, because the publishers own the distribution channels, it was a business-to-business model, and they sold to bookstores. So the author was very important, and they positioned the author, but the author did not have the direct access to the audience except through, you know, the real world of going to these bookstores and going to libraries and speaking, all pretty much organized by their publishers. Now, the authors can speak directly to their audience, and as a result, no matter how you're published, you really have a lot more power over how you shape your brand, and you're being asked to, you know, no matter if you're self-published or traditional, to really be your own marketing maven and take it on as a business would, and get out there and tell people about your brand and your writing experience. So we looked at that piece of it and we're like, gosh, it's a lot. Writing, formatting, distribution, sales, social, brand building, all of these things. And we thought, okay, we really need to be an end-to-end solution that has the built-in marketing and branding. And so that is what we became, is we evolved from just a book promotion solution into an end-to-end solution, and really the world's first integrated solution where you find the branding, the marketing, and the discoverability elements either automated or built in to your dashboard and a click away. And that is our goal. It's simply to help simplify the publishing process, increase exposure, and build your brand in a way that helps you drive sales and build a loyal fan base that will then become your marketing, you know, your marketing army, as it were, and help save you time and money by making everything more efficient, automating what we can, and what we can't automate, make it one click away. And so we went from being just a dashboard with marketing tools to the complete publishing platform. And people can use Bublish either way. They can either sign up to use Bublish simply for the promotional tools, or they can use us as a complete end-to-end distribution system, writing their book on Bublish, promoting it on Bublish, selling it on Bublish, distributing it through Bublish, and tracking their sales through Bublish. So it all starts with our very innovative writing tool. And again, everything that we build, even our writing tool, has the built-in branding. So I'm going to show you this live, but just to give you a kind of a quick overview of the feature set. You can write on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, it's actually laying out the book. You can choose a book design with a single click, and the entire EPUB will change. It's generating the TOC as you build the book. And when you're ready to start sharing the book with the world, you can create what you see in the middle here, what's called a rough cut book bubble. So this author used it actually to drive her pre-order sales before the book launched. And she does distribute with us as well. So she's seen an incredible growth in her book and her brand recognition, working with us for about the last 6 months. And it all starts by building your audience before you launch. So she had an EPUB file with a single click. She built pre-launch buzz. She drove pre-order sales. And that's all from the first tool in Bublish. The second tool in Bublish is once you're published, or if you choose not to write your book on Bublish, you can simply upload your book. You're the only person who has access to your book as a whole, but you can go into anywhere in your book and select the excerpt you want to share with your audience, and that's basically just a highlighting function anywhere in your book, and then on the next screen it asks you to share the story behind your story, and we call that the author insight. Everything else here is automatically wrapped around that content that you select. So book bubbles basically take a few minutes to create, and unlike a blog, You don't have to go out and think about what am I going to write about. Your story has hundreds of stories behind it. For example, in this one, she's sharing, the story of Alzheimer's and how it impacted the book that she wrote. The synopsis, the bio, the website, the buy links, the share links, all of that is all automatically generated, as is all the search engine optimized metadata on the back end. So everything, when you upload your book and you create your profile on Bublish, all of that is optimized automatically for you so that search engines can start to associate you with your book. And remember, the search engines like Google now favor social content. So every time you're sharing a new book bubble, you're building that SEO automatically, search engine optimization as we call it. And I'll show you also down here in the corner is the follow feature. So if someone follows you on Bublish, they begin, and again, this is that concept of moving from social to the inbox, they start to receive your branded book bubbles in their email. And that, we think, is the first step in really building the super fans, because now they've given you permission to send things to them in their email. And again, this is all automated for the authors. So they just publish the bubble. It goes right out to all their followers. We also have built another very important author branding tool in our author profile. So when someone goes and clicks on one of your bubbles in social and they're exploring it, there's a little icon, and it can take them to this entire profile. And they can buy the books there, but they can also see, oh, this author writes in numerous different genres, and here are all the book covers, and they can explore your work as an author. So we kind of call this a LinkedIn-style profile for authors. The other thing is that we show you kind of the sales funnel, as it were. We show you the engagement with your book bubbles on the different social platforms that you're sharing. For example, Christine Nolfi is a power Twitter user, so her shares are happening on Twitter, and then we show you where the readers convert to your product page. So they go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble or Apple. You see that directly. Same with your profile. So you can see where the conversions are happening. And it's very interesting. It's a great way, because we work with all the major online retailers. It's a great way to expand your readership, because when they come to the bubble, if they like it, they can go precisely to the retailer they like to use. So if they're on an iPad, they can go buy it from Apple. If they're really loyal to Barnes & Noble or have a Nook, they can go right there. If they like to buy on Amazon, they can go directly there. Kobo drives a lot of sales internationally. So you get a sense that, that being agnostic really helps us drive sales across all the retailers you work with. And then we also added Bublish's Author Services portal, which is all those tools that you need to write, edit, format. Anything you need is a click away, and you can work with our team. And we have some partners we also work with, but we're really picky. I have been an editor my entire life. I'm very picky about the people that we associate the Bublish brand with, because we really put the authors in the middle of our universe and want to make sure that we give them incredible value. So if you come to the Author Services portal, know that you're in very caring hands. So if you want, it's up to you, Judith. Do you want to have a few questions now? Do you see questions
Sure.
coming out, or should we go right into the demo?
Yeah, Kathy, are you moving your mouse on your side? I hear a lot of scratching going on, and I know I'm getting a few.
Oh, I'm sorry. Might be my headset, because I get kind of animated, so I move.
Earrings and things will do that.
Okay.
All right, let's open up.
Maybe
Does anyone have any questions for Kathy at this point before we jump into our live demo? Or would you like to wait till after the live demo? Why don't you just jump in and let me know?
And while you do that, I'm going to go ahead and transition here to...
All right, Brenda, John. All right, I think we're going to go to after. So go ahead and do your transition, and let's move it in.
Can you see now that we are on the? Can you see this moving?
I can. Everyone, can you
Excellent.
see
So
it,
now we
moving?
are on the, yeah. And so now we are on the live platform, and I'm going to try not to move my head. Is the scratching going down?
Yes.
Okay, it's probably me just moving my head around.
Aha.
So this is the excerpt, and I will take you behind the scenes to the dashboard, but I am signed in as a different author than this, but you can see up here is navigation for the author. But anyone who encounters a book bubble on social media, they may never have heard of Bublish. It absolutely does not matter. They don't have to log in. They don't have to know who we are. You simply are going to share a link, and they can experience the entire book bubble, everything I'm showing you here, without ever having heard of Bublish. The only thing you get when you sign in as a reader is you get all the navigation and the ability to search the site. But single bubbles are completely viewable. They just don't have navigation. And you'll see that this book is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, iBookstores. I can just click and go directly to that product page. And then someone can go ahead and share it again, Facebook, Twitter, email. They can follow me, and when they follow me, then I would start to get this beautiful email. This is an example of a branded email, and that would take me right to their bubble. So that's a way, if someone follows you, to start going right into the inbox, as I mentioned. And then they can also comment through a Facebook API. So the other thing is that you're really having kind of a micro browsing experience, and I'll show you what these look like on Twitter and Facebook, but you know, on one screen, the ability to look at the synopsis, to check out their bio. You're never leaving the screen. It's kind of like a little microsite, but it's meant to mimic the kind of quiet book to reader moment that happened in bookstores, but doesn't happen online so often. And here's the secret sauce of the book bubble. In addition to all the branding elements and the design, is the author telling the story behind the story. So in this case, Roe, who does have a very strong sense of place in his thriller novels, talks about how much New Orleans means to him and why it's almost a character in his book. So now, you know, you've turned an excerpt that is a wonderful tool. Sampling is a wonderful tool in this crowded marketplace that has a very range of quality. If you write quality content and you put it in front of people, you know, you've already touched them in a way that shows them, oh, strong writer. And if they read in your genre, they may just go ahead and click. But here you get to really say the why. Now, the biggest brands in the world, the brands with more money than, you know, some major countries, all use storytelling to break through the noise. It's true. I mean, you know, the Coca-Colas of the world, they tell stories and they evoke emotions because we are wired. So what better thing for an author to do than share the story behind their story, to use storytelling as a way to not feel like they're promoting, but rather they're sharing their creative journey and they're sharing their creative work. So for a lot of authors who are very uncomfortable with book promotion, book bubbles are a way you don't have to say buy my book, you just share your story. So you can also visit the author's website, and I'll show you, I won't click away to that, but let me show you what book bubbles look like kind of in the wild, as it were. So this is on Twitter. This is a bunch of ones that are just coming through Bublish. For example, this is Christine Nolfi, who I was just showing you her work before, and then the author can come here. See, there's no navigation here, so this is just a way to take a look at a book bubble, and I can do all the same things here, and I can read everything here right on the Twitter stream. And so we get, you know, lots of retweets. I think she had 21 retweets on that. People love to share book bubbles because they are little micro browsing experiences. Here's a book bubble on Facebook. So you see, again, this has a visual element to it. Takes you right there. And then I just wanted to show you, we do not have the API yet with Google Plus or LinkedIn, but you can just take the link and you can share it anywhere. So this author is very active on Google Plus and shared his author profile. So here's what his author profile looks like, and now I'm able to see all of his books. I mean, he's very prolific and a big user of Bublish. So he's very active on Google Plus with Bublish. So now let me just take you back here and show you a little bit what it looks like behind the scenes. Let me just go to the dashboard. So we're going to be on Christine's dashboard now to kind of see the metrics and see what a real dashboard looks like. So these are the metrics. This is Christine's. She has a lot of books on Bublish. She has some of them, like this one, she has written on Bublish. Others she's imported from Bublish. So this is what it looks like to an author. And she's got all her books and all her bubbles. And the interesting thing is, as you create bubbles for all of your books, you're creating basically a library of evergreen digital assets. And this becomes very useful when you're trying to create an ongoing, interesting cycle of content that you share. So she has, lots of bubbles from each of her books, as you can see, and she now puts them in Hootsuite, and it's kind of a introducing new readers to her work through her book bubbles. And you'll see she gets very high levels of engagement. So she's got, I'm going to guess she shared a bubble today that was new because she's got a real pop there. She gets a lot on Bublish. She's not a big Facebook user with Bublish, but she's a huge Twitter user with Bublish. And then you can see right here, these are her conversions. And what Christine has told us is she loves it because she's actually a hybrid author now, so she has a deal with Amazon Publishing, and she has her own group of books that are self-published, but that most of her non-Amazon sales come from Bublish. So that's, what she has shared with us. She does not clearly share her profile too much, as you can see. So most of those views are coming on Bublish, but some people share their profile a lot, some people do not. So anyway, that kind of gives you a sense of the metrics.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry.
All right, so when you're looking, if you can go back to maybe the Twitter, since I'm a Twitter user,
Sure.
I prefer Twitter over all of them. But so on the automatic deal, when a bubble goes up, the picture of the book, it already carries over with it, so it gets posted within the her posting, or does she have to kind of do a shortener to bring it on over? Is it just automatic?
So it's automatic with the Facebook API. It is part of it, as you can see here.
I see
but with Twitter, you do have to add it. What we tell authors to do is, if they want to add it right when they're sharing the bubble, they can put the Hootsuite. I don't know if you can see this little Hootlet.
Yep, I see it.
And then let me just see if I can get it to behave here.
Okay.
So if I do it on Hootlet,
yes,
I can, it'll grab the image. You see that? How it grabbed the image? Through Bublish, you do have to, it's basically looks like this. So you do have to just copy and paste it right into Twitter, and then you can add your.
So by using the image from Bublish, then it would throw, if they click on it, would it throw them into, or on the link that would represent the image, would it throw them into the Bublish page then?
Yeah, so anywhere here. So let's just click on this one. So this one doesn't have an image, right? So
okay,
we're just right into her book bubble.
Okay.
So you just go right into this kind of micro reading experience right from the link.
And then do you recommend how much of the book they put up as an excerpt?
Well, what our rule of thumb is that we kind of say, try to give them something that feels complete. You don't have to give a whole chapter. It's not really designed for that. Some people do use it that way, but it's better to give a scene or a slice of dialogue or something that leads up to, you know, a moment of, you know, suspense, and then really concentrate on telling a story behind it, or asking the questions of the readers, or talking about, you know, why you crafted it this way. So we find the most effective bubbles really concentrate on the story behind the story. So they don't share just a whole chapter. They share something that has meaning that they then talk about in their author insight. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. It does. Well, I was just trying to figure, I'm trying to get my head all around it. I'm sure that our other viewers have questions too, but I was just looking at the book excerpt. How much are we putting on here? Are you putting?
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, see, this is like a few, this one is a few, I think this author uses it very well, a few different paragraphs, and then he's talking about how he wrote it, and he's giving a nice insight there. So it's not meant to be, you know, a 20-minute experience. Readers spend about 4 minutes on book bubbles on average, which if you compare to an ad, which would just be seconds, it's a pretty deep experience around the book.
Mm-hmm.
So it is more of a browsing experience, but you don't want in a social setting to really, you know, tax the reader to the point where it's too much. So we just say, think as much about the story behind it and giving the reader something that's complete, so they kind of have a satisfied feeling when they leave their excerpt, and they want to either go visit your website, or they want to go directly to your product page on Amazon and purchase the book. I don't want to read too many. I don't want to open in too many windows because I'm afraid that I'm going to crash.
No, we don't want to crash.
But you see, I went right here, and so now, if I wanted to, I could go into this reading experience. But you know, I've gotten a sample here. So your goal is to get them to act in a way that brings them a little closer to either you and signing up for your newsletter, or following you, or joining you on social, or following you on Bublish, or purchasing your book. But there is, you know, as you know, seven touch points it takes to usually get to a purchase. And the key here is that you're inviting people into your creative journey. You're not shouting, "Buy my book" at them. It's a much more authentic approach to building an audience, and I think a much more comfortable one for the authors. Okay. So does that give you a good sense, some orientation?
Yeah,
so here are
and so on your bubble views, go back to that one that go above. Okay, so above her. Yeah, now we have bubble views. When you were referring to Twitter and those kind of things, are those people who were sharing? Were they retweeting? Or, I mean, I was trying to figure out how.
This is engaging, so they actually went
there you go
on the bubble and engaged. So this means 212 people clicked on that link and actually read her bubble, engaged with her bubble.
That's huge.
And that's just on Twitter, and 30 more, and that's today. Yeah, that's today. And what often we see, there's 2 times where it'll spike. It's when the author shares a new book bubble, and then every weekend we take all the new book bubbles and we put them in a weekend reader marathon with lots of hashtags around the genre and reading hashtags, and it runs all weekend long. And then on Monday we have the Bublish floating bookstore. So if you're creating a new bubble each week from, you know, a number of books, we're putting lots of eyes. And this is only the last 90 days for her, and she has actually been rather quiet. I've seen this number. It would take me a while if I went to her full history, because she has actually been well over 12,000 in a 90-day period, just kind of sharing on a regular basis.
And so curious,
but she's writing.
Can you, I don't know if it's a kosher or not, but
yeah.
those eyeballs on her page, does she have a number she's estimated that converted to actual book sales?
Well, like I said, she basically says Apple, Barnes& and Noble, and Kobo, we drive the majority of her sales. Amazon, she has a lot of visibility in Amazon because of her relationship with Amazon, but she doesn't have as much at Apple, Barnes& and Noble, and Kobo. So she has told us that we drive almost all of her sales at those retailers, which is great. Harder to tell at Amazon is what she's told us. But these are conversions in the sense that let's go back to, let's see if well, I don't think I have her. Oh, yes, I do. So what this means is someone went and then visited the product page. We don't own the shopping cart here, so we don't know if they converted. But if you've gotten them here, you've made a huge leap. And it does take, in any sales funnel, the top of the funnel has to be really full so that you can, by the time you get people here, you can convert a percentage. And I will be very honest with you, people are like, well, what is the average conversion?
Sure.
And that, what we do know is it varies wildly by author. And a couple of things define it. We've seen conversion rates as high as 50% and as low as like half a point. And what happens is if you are reaching the right audience and you're providing a great book and they're sampling it and they go there, you have a very strong conversion rate like Christine does. If you're not getting it in front of the right audience, and if you don't deliver on a reading experience that's great for them, Bublish isn't going to work as well. But that's basically, something we can't control. So we don't promise sales. What we promise is that we can get your book, a lot of eyes on your book, and that with our resources and our education, we'll teach you and we'll model it by sharing our own network, by retweeting your work and sharing your work every day. We're constantly, if you add us, we're sharing it with our network and we're tagging it to show you the best way to get in front of genre readers. So we'll put a lot of eyes on your book, and we will try to help you to get them in front of the right readers by modeling that for you through our retweets and through our reader events.
So, Kathy, do you recommend they just do their ongoing variations of Bubbles on the one excerpt that they put up, or should they take down the excerpt and put up another one?
Well, the only thing I ever hear is sometimes people say, well, I don't want to put my whole book up there. And my response to that is no one is ever going to read your book or try to piece the puzzles of, hundreds of different book bubbles and try to read your book that way. And nobody can copy this. You can see there's no copying. It's just not going to happen. So there should be no fear. There are so many authors giving away their entire books for free and not reaping any rewards because they're doing it through a system like Amazon, and it's great, and it may translate, if they're really savvy, into more sales of their other books, but it may not. But with Bublish, you get to give away a little bit of your book and enrich it with all the branding and the voice of building your author brand, and to draw them, when you give away your book for free on Amazon, they're not showcasing your website to drive traffic there. They're just giving your book away on their readers that they need to fill with free content. So unfortunately, about 4% of the free books that are downloaded are read. Only 4%.
I know.
So
these are Kindle. You're talking about the ebooks, correct?
Right, ebooks. Well, it depends. We are a full distributor of both ebooks and print on demand. So we're getting more and more into print because we think that the marketplace is basically saying we want our books in both formats. There's a lot of opportunities there, but the buy page just simply takes you to the product page, and then you can decide the format you want. So this is Shellkeeper is her crime fiction. That's one of her Kindle World books through Amazon, which is why it's only available there.
All right. Well, hopefully I was asking questions that a lot of our viewers are thinking. So, all right.
Yeah, and let's see. Let's go back to the, I'm going to close a few of these just to not have, there we go, not have a bunch of windows open here. And then the other thing is just to show you the writing tool. Well, let's just actually just create a book bubble real fast. We'll just go, I think this is the latest one. Let me just show you. Christine's very kind enough to let us just kind of experiment here. But you're literally, I'm just picking a chapter. I'm highlighting any
So she has all
amount
her
of
chapters
text.
up. She's got all her chapters up of this book. Is that correct?
She has her entire book uploaded, but only she and I, because I have permission to go into her account, can see the book. No one else can see this.
Got it.
So she can go into any piece of her book and highlight whatever section of it she wants to share in a book bubble. And then the next thing she's going to be asked is to put that author insight. So this is the, the story behind the story. And then I'll put this is a test bubble. And remember that, she's uploaded the book and put in information, and she's uploaded her profile and her picture. So all of that's here. So basically this is just instructions, but now this is the book bubble being ready to share. Mm-hmm. And the only thing you really had to do is fill this out, and then you publish it by sharing it to Facebook or Twitter, or you can email it to yourself. And at that point, I'm not going to publish this one, but I'll show you it'll save to her dashboard. At that point, the book bubble is then shared to that social platform, and it's also shared in the bubble stream on Bublish.com. So here's the story not yet published, and you can do that. You can go in and create 10 bubbles on a Sunday and then start releasing them little by little, and I'm just going to delete it. But here they are, all these shared bubbles that she can go back and share again. And like I said, she's just got an incredible library of content, visual content with different stories. They're evergreen, unlike a blog post that can often be tied to time and place. This is just the story behind her story. And it's, an incredible amount of visual content that she's got all organized in one place. And now she can take it and just schedule it out on Hootsuite and kind of slowly, drip her followers on social media. So when she wants to upload another book at any point, because if you're a premium subscriber, you can upload as many books and create unlimited bubbles, she can just upload another book and it'll go onto part of that. I'm actually not going to upload a book, but it's very easy. It takes about 2 minutes.
Whoa.
I did not prepare that. I mean, it takes about 2 seconds.
Oh, 2 seconds is even better.
I meant 2 seconds, sorry. It takes about 2 seconds to upload. But she can also start writing a new book. So let me show you that. I have something open here in Safari. So this book is an example of one that was written on Bublish, and you'll see that I can export it as an EPUB or a Word document. But let's go inside and pretend we're writing this book. So you'll see all these chapters, right? They're all over. We can go to any of the chapters that we want, and we can start to write in here. I am writing my new novel. Oops, with a typo in the first sentence.
Of course.
But you'll see on the left-hand side, it is just putting it in here, and on the right-hand side, it's laying it out. Now I can change the entire formatting of it. Oop, I chose the same one. I can change it to classic. Oops, did it change to classic? It did. I can change it to stylish. I can change it to modern. And then I can add chapter numbers, or I can take them out. I can take out the chapter titles, or I can add them in. Let me just take this out. Now, as I add each chapter, you know, it is generating the whole TOC for me here. And then if I want to share, like I showed you the rough cut book bubble, it's the same process I just showed you. You just highlight from this side any piece that you're ready to share. If you're writing your book and you don't want the world to see that you're writing a book on Bublish, just don't share a bubble from it and it won't show up on your profile. If you're ready to start sharing, then once you show the bubble, the synopsis and the cover that you have will start showing up, and you just add the rough cut book bubble here. And then if you get ready to do the pre-orders, you can add the places where you're offering the pre-order, and instead of a buy button, it'll put a pre-order button right on the book bubble. So then I'll go back to my dashboard, and let me just show you the place where you can download it and how easy this is. So say she finished her book now and she's ready to distribute it, and let's say she doesn't want to distribute with Bublish, she just wants to create the EPUB. So she's going to save the EPUB, and it's right there. Let me just show you, she's going to save it as a Word document, and it's right here. Let's open the Word document first. Let's just take a look. So that was that easy to generate an EPUB and a Word document. Here's the entire book, all the way, the entire book in a Word document for editing. And here is the EPUB that'll open. It should open on my Mac in iBooks. Let's see. And there's the TOC, interactive, beautiful EPUB, and it's ready to distribute, and it will validate at all the major retailers. So we have really tried to make the creation of a beautiful product, a beautiful formatted product, click, 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 and build in, again, the whole marketing of the book bubbles. And so, like, just to show you what it would look like here, this is how a visitor would see it. So here's the writing. Say she didn't want to see that. There we go. This is, they would see the other version of the book that has the book bubbles. But if you saw there were two versions of the book, and the one without the book bubbles is not showing to the public. And again, no one can access the book from any of the bubbles or anywhere else. Only you can access the book. But you can share this whole profile, and then they can go and they can explore your different book bubbles as a whole as well, and then they can follow you, like it, follow you on Bublish. And as this author only has the one book, but let's go back to looking at it the way. And there's the book that was in development. So she keeps, the other thing we're starting to see a lot of the authors do is keep one version of their book just on Bublish, and then download it and upload it, and then they always have a version if they want to go back and republish. It's easy to make edits, and probably in 30 minutes you could put your edits in, download it, upload it to your KDP account, and redistribute. If you found typos or wanted to add front matter or back matter or reviews or something like that, or change up something about the book, we make it really easy for that to be done. So I hope that shows you gives you a good taste of the writing tool. Any questions about that?
Wow, that's a wow. So does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, and that was created just to not put down caliber or calibre, however it's pronounced, but we got so many horrible EPUBs on Bublish. We thought we have just got to make this easier, because you could see that the authors were having a really tough time figuring out how to do the styling in there. So we were like, it should be one click. Again, the concept of integration and automation, just make the whole thing easier. The technology exists. We just have to kind of bring all the pieces together. So that's what we did.
And does for the EPUB side, Does it allow, for example, a lot of nonfiction books
Yeah.
have call-outs or maybe some special treatment. How does it handle that kind of thing within it?
Yeah, we will. I will say it is the first version. We will be upgrading a lot of things, and we've had especially nonfiction authors ask us for different tools for centering, and I don't know that the technology to be able to do like a piece of art that is created within Bublish is tough, but you can upload images. So you could create the call-outs, as it were, as a piece of art and then input them in. But we do intend to keep evolving as the authors tell us. Another thing like we really want to do, so a lot of authors have told us, they want to optimize. They have, say, 5 books. They have them on 5 retailers, and they want to optimize the back matter so when an author or when a reader finishes, they can click to the product page for the next book, be it in a series or just because they really like the author. And to do that, sometimes authors are paying $120 because you have to have them specific. Those links have to be specific to the retailer. So think of 5 books for 5 retailers. It's a lot of links. It's a lot of versions of your book. So in our next iteration of the writing tool, we plan to enable them to do that just very quickly so they could create those different versions, just automate that process for them. Just put in the fields and the links would be in there. So we're always talking to the authors, and we just want to keep making that writing tool better and better.
All right, so a couple of questions. Udren wants to know if it's compatible with Buffer. You mentioned Hootsuite a couple of times. Is it compatible?
Yeah, we have a lot of authors that use Buffer. The only thing that sometimes I have to remember, if when you share, like we use the bit.ly links in here. So I have something in my head that Buffer doesn't like them, but you can just go get the long link and then add it to Buffer. The only thing you have to do the only thing you have to do is, so you do have to publish the bubble first, either by emailing it to yourself or sharing it to Facebook and Twitter, and then once the bubble is published, you can take that link and put it into Buffer as often as you'd like.
Okay.
But you do have to publish the bubble first.
You do. So she couldn't do, for example, I think what she's thinking is like what I do on Hootsuite, is I just make up a whole bunch of stuff and just schedule it out over the week.
No, you can once it's published. So let's, go back to, I think we're still on, let's see, here we are. So that's exactly what Christine does. So she has all of this content. So in the very beginning, you're going to have to kind of be consistent about publishing it. But once you have met you've got quite a few bubbles, then you can just start creating kind of a content calendar, put the book bubble in that you want, and cycle in different books throughout that cycle in your content calendar, and once they're published, you can only do that. You've got it all here in this one library on your dashboard, so it's really easy to go grab the links and do that.
Got it. Margot wants to know if this can be used for children's books.
It can. We do have children's authors on here. I will tell you the challenge is that if it depends on the age, but they are not necessarily on social media. So
for little kids, in fact, that's a little one. Yeah.
Yeah. So we do have some people on here with picture books for very young readers. I will be honest with you, I think it's a challenge unless you are very sophisticated about selling to the moms, like just to figure out on, the mommy bloggers and what hashtags are they using and get in there, then you could use it to, reach. But mostly Bublish is powerful for talking directly to the person who's going to read your book. And in that case, you'd be talking to the parents, so you'd have to, or the teachers or the librarians. But you know, there's a way, but it's not quite designed for that.
Got it.
I will tell you, we did do one thing that was really interesting in an attempt to help our children's authors, and it's kind of a dream of mine to scale this, but we worked with a platform called Edmodo, which is like Facebook's for classrooms.
Right.
And we actually brought authors from all around, in the beta, all around the world into the classroom, and it was just like the kids were talking to them on Facebook, but it was extraordinary. And Edmodo has about maybe 60 million users around the world now, and they were so enamored with the project that they asked the teacher to be one of 8 presenters at their international conference last August. I just, you know, would love to integrate with them and make that scalable. We just don't have the bandwidth right now, but we do have a newsletter. If you're interested in getting updates on that, you can just email me at Kathy@Bublish.com and say, I'm interested in Edmodo, and I'll send you the link to sign up for that newsletter.
What about outputting to, Christina wants to know about the output to CreateSpace. Does that work?
Output meaning, the EPUB?
I'm assuming she means EPUB, yes. Does it also output for Create?
So
if you create in CreateSpace, can you bring it over? Christina,
right.
did I get that right?
Yeah, I mean, typically you would upload your digital to Kindle Direct Publishing, but that's what CreateSpace would do on your behalf anyway. But if you're talking about for print, it does not generate a PDF that is laid out, not yet. That is a dream of ours. How nice would that be to be able to click a button and have a PDF and it would look just like a beautiful laid out book. That's kind of a dream of ours. But we do have those services. If you bring us a Word document or an EPUB, we can do a book layout for you, and we work directly with CreateSpace. We also highly recommend to authors that they work with CreateSpace for print on demand, so they do their distribution to Amazon through CreateSpace, and they do their extended distribution through Ingram Spark, because for libraries, Barnes & Noble, bookstores, they will not deal with CreateSpace, and you also get better margins per unit by doing both.
Yes, and if they're Author U members, they get another discount on all their printing. All right.
Oh, great.
Yes, we have a nice little discount for our members. All right, so Melissa, let's see, Margot, can this be used for children's? We answered that one. I'm just kind of going through my list here, trying to see everybody.
Yeah, and let me just pull down, because I can go back to the slides as well.
Okay, and then let's see. Oh, here, Melissa, she wanted to know if you can also upload snippets of pieces of working titles as well to the retailers, if I get this right, as well to the retailers on Bubbles, just like a completed work. I think this could be a really cool tool, Kathy, that an author could put together actually a mini tour de force for a retail type tour to show them what's going on behind the scenes, if they could get some of the buyers involved or people who work on the floor. But that's just, you know, I'm throwing that on the table here.
Yeah, I mean, what we'd love to do is create a widget. I mean, the thing, you know, on the online retailers, it's tough because, you know, they've got their own sampling tools, but of course those are branded and they are very strict. It's basically showing what they determine that they want to show. It's not super branded for you. So this is a way to augment that and drive them to that product page. But I would love to work with some of the booksellers that have physical stores and see if we couldn't have some way, maybe on an iPad in their store, for them to sample independent books through book bubbles. You know, it would enable them to kind of extend into the virtual space their browsing experience, and I'm kind of playing around with some ideas. I've thought about, you know, maybe we could fulfill through some type of eBay setup with a bookstore. I don't know. It's very complicated with bookstores, though. They have a very, you know the model, Judith. It's it's really old world. So I
It
have to
is.
find the right bookseller.
Yeah, you know,
uh,
here's the data. There's a lot of independent authors who are starting their own bookstores now. Uh,
yes.
it's kind of like, you know, we're going to show you how, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. One more question, and then we'll move on. Is it? I think it's Bryce. He's a new author, and he's
Okay.
asking about what's the best price point to start off with a completed book. So, Bryce, I'm going to tell you the first thing you ought to do is you need to find out what your competition is selling for. What are the new books, your genre, your size, page word count, in that arena? What are they going for? That's gonna be where your sweet spots are going to be. That's my input. The only way you
And
really
yeah, go
violate
ahead.
that is if you're selling, like I used to primarily sell my books, which was from speaking all over the country, is that when you're in front of an audience, they love you, they just want to take you home. So price becomes a minor factor, where when people are shopping and looking at books, price does become a factor. So just where are you
Yeah.
going to sell? How are you going to sell it? You need to stay in that area. Kathy, you had something to add on to that?
Yeah, I was going to say for new authors, and if you, Brice, I think was his name,
Bryce, what
if
I
you
said, yeah.
if you have any short stories or any other content that really shows your writing style that you can use on your website to give away in exchange for an email, or to upload for free download and then have the buy-through. Uh, there's so this author that you're seeing here, Arabella Sheraton, who saw the 200% increase. So
Hmm.
she actually distributes our work with us, and we've been distributing her work for slightly over a year. She was traditionally published. The publisher went out of business. Her last check from her publisher was so small that it was shocking. And what we did is, she uses everything in the Bublish toolkit, and she distributes with us. We created and I'm going to come back to price here, but we rebranded her. We came up with a tagline, an authentic Regency romance, which is for a very specific audience, because she did not have a series at that time. And we launched all the books with a whole new look and feel. And literally every time we write her a royalty check, it goes up by 20 to 30%. Now we have enough content where we play around every month. Every month we change the price on one book, and we use it as kind of and 90, like, so just to say how specific pricing is in the different genres. The average price of an ebook, if you're going digital first, is about $3.99 now. A lot of books on Bublish, we recommend to the authors that they price them at $4.99, but as soon as we get more content, we start playing around with lower price points as a way to entice people to give you a shot. And if you get the book in front of the right audience and they get a great read, you're much closer to making a sale at a higher price point. So we typically, 99 cents is huge for a romance, but we don't want to do that with all of her work. We just want to do it with one. So whatever book isn't selling that month as well as the others, we're going to play around, drop the price. We've got now a novella that leads into a first novel, so it's just a two-piece series. And we had the free, we went perma-free on the novella, and then we moved the first book to $2.99 instead of $4.99, and it did well. But then we were like, okay, we're not getting the buy-through that we thought, so we dropped that to 99 cents. And when they get to the end of that, there's always a $2.99 option, and when they get to the end of that, there's a $4.90. But people are willing to pay more once they're hooked. So you have to know, you really have to know your genre. You really have to know what's going on in it, what the readers are doing. You should use social for that. Talk to the readers directly. Ask them, and try out different price points. But the key is to really be able to define the brand as much, like to explain what is it, what is the reading experience that you are trying to provide for them, what's different about you, why should they try you, and start there, because price won't matter if you don't get that right.
Okay.
And this little thing, an authentic Regency romance, the authentic, because that market, that genre got really crowded with garbage.
All right, so let's just try to, we have so many questions, Kathy. A couple.
Okay, that's great.
Tina wants to know, would you spell the name of the platform that used the interaction at the children's demo that you referred to?
Edmodo.
Spell it out.
Yeah. EDMODO.
Terrific. All right.
Edmodo.
All right, then we have that, and we're hearing your movement. It's scratchy again. A couple of people are saying it's hurting on your headphones.
Got excited about that price point discussion.
Oh, I love it. All right, let's see, let me just see what John's asking here. Is this Bublish for self-publishers or for writers who seek an agent for traditional publishing? Well, I think it can be for anybody.
Both, yeah. So we have an interesting one I'll tell you right about is Laura Parker, who also has the pen name Dee Ayers on the left here. But we have publicists, we have publishers who use the platform. They write the book bubbles for their authors. We have hybrid authors. I would say about 50% of our authors at least are traditionally published. Especially authors that are at smaller presses where they don't get tons of marketing support. So we're agnostic that way, and what's great is we can really help authors build their platform no matter what their goals are. For example, when Christine started with us, she did not have a traditional deal, and now she does. But she has a huge platform, and she's got great books. The covers she did were at the Four Wishes. She actually redid all of her covers. We do not distribute Christine, but she's just a power user, and we were like, you got to redo your covers, and we introduced her to the cover artist we work with. He redid it. Her sales continued to go up. She's always been strong, but the change in the book covers just brought her to a new level in branding, and so she's now got a traditional contract, so she's hybrid.
All right, so Melvin is asking, he says, Kathy, he's just released a paperback with a retail price of $14.95. Can he upload the file to Bublish so that people can sample it? Sure, that's what we're talking about. Well, isn't that?
You've just got to have an EPUB. So if you have a Mobi file, and you can go to Bublish.com and you can go ahead and just anywhere on the platform it says contact us, and you can just hit that and ask a question. So if you don't have the EPUB file, there is a way to get your Mobi file and convert it. As long as you have a digital file on Amazon, we can usually get you to an EPUB pretty quickly.
All right, so let me just say, we can come back to some more of these questions before everyone says, wait a minute, we're past an hour here. So Kathy, you have a couple of more things, because we have a special offer for everyone who's on, do we not?
We do.
But you know what?
Yeah, so if basically we have a free trial for 2 weeks. So if you go up and sign up tonight, you can, and we don't ask for your credit card, but just write down this code, because if you use this code, AuthorU 2016, which you can see right here on the screen, AuthorU 216, after your free trial, then you can get 27% off the monthly rate. So you can get a whole year of Bublish for $89. Everything you saw would be at your fingertips for only $89. And we made it so that the code would be good, so you could go and try it out and look at all the things and open your own account. But the free trial is 2 weeks, so I just kind of decided let's make a code for the 2 weeks, and then you can use that. And Judith has kindly organized to have a discount for everyone who's on the webinar.
Which I love to do. So
yeah, exactly.
I remember when you use the discount code, it's all caps. The AuthorU is all caps, or does it matter, Kathy?
It is all caps. I think it actually forces that, but yes, it's all caps. Author U 2016, that's just how our system generates it. And you just, when you're ready to use it, just sign into your account that you created for the free trial, and then click. You'll see up in the upper right-hand corner, it's say 14 more days, 13 more days, and then when you get ready to upgrade, just click the upgrade button and it'll take you right to the place to put the code in.
So Kathy, what's the normal price? Back me up to 27. What would it be normally if they didn't have a discount?
120 for the monthly subscription it adds up to. So yeah, it's a nice discount.
That's a great deal. So everyone, even if I'm going to do it, and so that saves a lot. How about anyone else? Does this sound good to you others? I'd love to see what your response is. Are you excited about this? Because I'm jazzed. I mean, I actually did a radio show last week with Kathy, and I would encourage you to go listen to it because there are a lot more different types of variances of where we went and what you can do with it. And if you go to, for example, the authoru.org website, and you can, you've got a holiday weekend. This is a great time to do some catch-up. And the authoru.org website, right on the home page, if you just scroll down a little bit and click on the air icon, it'll come up with the radio show. And you just have to go down. There's another show on tonight, but it's last week's, and it's right there, and just click on it and get your favorite beverage and get out a notepad if you're going to be taking notes.
Yeah, happy 4th, everyone. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm all for this going back and forth. So I hope that people really take advantage of this because this is a good deal, and I love saving $30.
Yeah, and our goal is really we really do nurture a very strong community on Bublish. We have authors, thousands of authors all over the world using the platform, and like you do, we do a lot of education, and we love working with authors. I love working with authors, so it's our honor to help you guys find that audience. And if you really have written a great book, your audience is out there, so don't get discouraged. You just have to learn to be a publisher as well as a creator, as well as a writer, and that is both the challenge and the opportunity. At Bublish, we call them, and either you hate this word or you love it, but authorpreneurs. And very much like my journey in starting Bublish as an entrepreneur, the similarities are everywhere. I see them every day. You are an entrepreneur. You have to learn a lot of things that are outside of your comfort zone. You just wanted to create, and you're going to have to wear different hats. But if you're willing to become a great publisher of your work and a great writer and a great publisher and keep learning, you'll get there. I love the story at PubSmart, the author of Wool, who is, oh gosh, now I'm going to forget his name. Jeez. The series Wool. Can anybody in the audience, does anyone know it? Hugh Howey, got it, I just remembered. So Hugh Howey told the story to our audience of how it was the 8th book. And I think he was living in a trailer at one point and living on his boat at one point. Like, he just gave up everything to follow his passion. And it took him a long time to really get the book right and to get the marketing and the audience right, and he talks to his audience all the time. He's a great one to follow to see what real engagement and truly just being proud of your work and being really open to sharing it looks like. And he made it on his 8th book, and he is now a hybrid author. So he basically was the first author in the world to say to the big 5, okay, you can translate the book, you can do the international hardcover and print distribution, but I'm going to retain the rights to my ebook because I built that audience. And it pretty much changed everything. When I talk about an author-centric marketplace, that was one of the moments in history that really made that clear that the power has now shifted.
Mm-hmm. One of our listeners asked Peggy asked if there was a handout before. No, Peggy, there was not a handout before. I'll be sending again, for those of you, we still have most of us still on here, that I'll be sending you all a replay that you can share. And you know what? I would recommend you share it out with people in your community and say, take a look at this, because this is a different way to do things. I think what I liked about it, I was intrigued when I initially heard about it. I didn't, fully get it, and I had to really sit down and relook at it. And I think that people are looking for different ways for engagement. I think we all have to realize that how we market has always got to be thought as a menu in a restaurant. And then when you're doing that people like things in different ways. And they just want maybe quick and fast, just tell me what it is. Yep, I'll make a decision. Others want to noodle over it for a while. Others like to really have that visual experience and going through, and the opportunity maybe to know just a little bit more about this author. And as Kathy said when we started, you are the brand. And where Hugh Howey, who has been a huge success now, it took him 8 times at bat to really get that out. And that I think one of the myths and where disillusionment comes into play is they think that they're going to sell a gazillion copies right from the gate, and that is not usually going to happen. And
that's an interesting change too, Judith, that, is that it used to be, and I've been reading a lot of interesting articles, even with traditionally published, that now the breakthrough for many novels comes in the second year.
Yeah.
And what's very interesting about that, is in traditional, when that was the world was ruled by traditional publishing, you were talking 3 to 6 months, make it or break it. And that is just not how you market anymore.
No, I call traditional publishing Velcro publishing. And that, basically what they do is they manufacture your book. The support and the marketing that I experienced as a new author in the 80s, where I really said I was a kept author. I was well kept. And it's just not what authors experience today. And they're kind of really stunned to realize that they've got to get out and work their tush off to market this book. And where in the past, that's what the publisher did. Well, the past is the past, and the present is you're going to have to work your tush off to market your book. So this is one of the really unique tools that comes into support, and when you've got all these little other ancillary goodies that you can begin to play. And I think it's very unique, the idea of writing the book. Kathy, is there any limitation to how many words can go on what they could go in the system?
No, nope. As long as you want. I actually, it'd be interesting. I've never looked at the longest book that has been, written in Bublish, but no, there's no limitation. I would only caution someone, well, for a couple of things. First of all, short is the new black, as they say, book shots by James Patterson.
Yep, I have posters. I actually own the hashtag short book.
Yeah. So, and then the other consideration there is, if your book is really long, you're paying a download fee every time to Amazon. So notice that when you get your reports through KDP and some of the other retailers, there's an incremental little amount they take for that download cost. And the bigger the book, the more inclined they are to take more money. And the other thing is, if you have a huge story, consider, and this sometimes makes people angry, but it's just the reality, if there's any way to break it into a series. Boy, will it help you. The hardest thing is to sell one book.
Yeah.
And just be out there.
And if you've got...
You don't have the merchandising opportunities that you have with multiple books, so...
There is not a fiction, especially what I call the fat boys. There is not a fiction book that I have seen that that doesn't have a natural segue that you could split it and make it book 2. or book and or book 3. And here's the power of that, because that, as Kathy and I have been saying, it's not the book 1 that's going to do it. It's going to be it's usually book 3 is what my experience, but second, third, and this trailing. If all of a sudden you come up with out with a trilogy, whoa! Here's what it says to potential super fans: this person's going to be around. Because, a lot of times readers don't want to invest in new authors because they're thinking they may not be here tomorrow. So think about that.
No, exactly. In fact, there's evidence data that suggests in certain genres, new readers who are really the power readers, the avid readers, will not pick up a book in certain genres unless they know it's part of a series. Mm-hmm. Like thrillers, suspense, and often in romance, because they get hooked on that character and they don't want to feel like their drug is being taken away from them.
Oh man, all you have to do is look at Michael Conley, James Patterson and Alex Cross, that really started him, and his Spider book, which really introduced the detective Alex Cross, and it built an empire. That's all I can say. But that if you do have a Fat Boy book, that look at where there is some segues in there. And then what you're going to do is get that break, have your cover image going for the next one, and create a tease, drop in something, behind it saying, so they know, oh, here, along comes the spider, so to speak. So along comes the next one. Tease them so they'll snare. And what I would encourage you is just wait a few months before you bring it out. I wouldn't bring them out all at once. I would do the bringing, but they know that it's coming, and then you do the same thing. And I'm telling you, it's a formula, but it works. So
yeah, and if you can, like when you're writing that first book and you're like, okay, I get it, I'm going to do multiple books in this particular series, it actually has advantages in your discoverability because now you have a series title. So you're going to, again, think more strategically, which is great because you're putting on a publishing hat. And you may not be able to, you don't want to release it right away, but you do need to start a timeline. And that discipline of when you release books is, again, something a publisher would expect if you signed a contract in specific genres. It's very rare that they would sign it for one. They'd say, okay, let's plot out the next 3 years. What does the series look like? So I'm actually working with 2 people on series right now, and they're releasing the first book in the series. And you really have to think differently when you're releasing multiple books in a series. Like, you create your cover differently, your metadata is different, the way you talk about the book is different, and it just shows readers a much bigger, more professional commitment to writing. This is not a hobby for you. You're all in, and you come out of the gate looking more professional, more like your own publisher, and that just tells the marketplace, okay, I'm going to take a look at this person.
Okay, here's a quick question. Christina wants to know if this works with Pinterest.
So we have not built the API for Pinterest yet, but a lot of people just take their book cover and put the link behind it. Again, you can just copy and paste the link into Pinterest, but I don't have the integration built yet, but we will get there. Again, it will be as many integrations as we can. Another one people are asking for is Instagram. Really challenging because you can't have the links. But we will get there and keep adding. LinkedIn for a lot of our nonfiction authors. So just know we are coding as fast as we can.
Yeah, it does happen. All of that. I mean, you can't kiss them all at once. All right, so I'm looking through to see if I've hit just about. Grace says she's going to use it for pre-launching her new book, which is always wonderful to hear. And let's see. All right, so John asked, we answered those. I'm just going through one more time. All right, so Peggy, you're saying, I received an email today welcoming me to Bublish. So,
great.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome.
Right.
So
nothing looks like everything I've done before. She said, nothing looks like anything I've done before, which is probably true. And so hopefully
It is different. We really tried to think outside the box. And what's interesting is, I am not a technologist. I am a writer,
Okay, so
editor,
Peggy said she just
publisher.
filled out for the free trial, but she's not finding where to put in the discount code. Where is that?
Well, the free trial, you don't need to put in the discount code till the end. When you're ready, if you decide to upgrade, then you
Yeah.
click in the right-hand corner, upper right-hand corner of your dashboard, click the upgrade button and put it in there with your
Okay.
credit card. But we don't ask for your credit card during the free trial.
Which makes them unique in the first place, I have to tell you all.
Yeah.
All right, so here's
Yeah.
what you need to do. Today is June 30th. We have 2 weeks, and so it's going to end on the
July
15th.
15th. Yep.
So
I built in an extra day, but
the
yeah,
bonus day. Oh, because we have a federal holiday. All right, so
yes.
what you want to do is put on your calendar that you need to come back then, and then write in what the code is, because it's only good. You need to do this before the 15th expires, or you just go ahead and sign up and grab it. I'm going to suggest, if this sounds like something that will work for you, that will move your books forward, that gives you a different variable on how to do book marketing, which I believe it does, and it opens up just another channel. If you're already on Facebook and you're on Twitter, this is a player to totally enhance your shares, your followers, your retweets, and all that.
Yeah, and you know what? Maybe we can send out the code with the replay, if that's possible.
Oh, yeah.
So that they have the code there.
No, here's what I'll do. I mean, for everyone, I will send them out a personal letter, and you will just get a quick update, and I will repeat the code with it, so you have it in reminders, so you have that all in play. I always do that on our
Great.
webinars. So
Wonderful.
it makes it easier with that.
Well,
All
it
right.
was a real pleasure being on. Thanks for having me. Thanks for all your great questions, guys. And Judith, always a pleasure.
It was a pleasure. Thank you, everyone. Have a really joyous 4th. Be careful. Don't hurt your hands if you're doing fireworks.
Yeah, I live in South Carolina, so you can't imagine. It's like
Connie,
the Revolutionary War occurs on my street because it's all legal here.
Connie's book just came in, and I just opened it. The mail just came down to me. So it's called The Wise Woman's Almanac, and it's fabulous. It's a fabulous book. I'm glad she let me have my hands in it. But it's a seasonal guide with recipes that are to die for new beginnings that never go out of season. So you can pre-order it up on Amazon, but it's just been shipped from the printer, and it looks beautiful, and it's got color throughout. Very cool.
Awesome.
Wise Woman's Almanac. So congratulations to Connie, and lovely to see so many names I recognize. I just want to remind you that Monday is a federal holiday, so I get to take the morning off, and I will not be doing free coaching on Monday morning. So I wanted to let you all know. All right? All right.
Have a happy 4th.
Happy 4th to all of you. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.